The syntax for jQuery looks pretty strange in some cases. Before we learn about selectors and events, animation, or even Ajax, we need to know how the syntax works. So let's create a demo script that tells us that jQuery has been installed on our web page. To do this, we write the following code inside of our head section. So here we have our opening head, our closing head tag, right? Then we have our script for jQuery, and all this is just a source. This is assuming that we downloaded it and that this is in the exact same directory as this web page. We close the script and we open a new one. Inside here we have our $, parentheses. So right here we know this is a function. Inside the parentheses just says the word window. There are no quotation marks or anything around it, it's just the word window. Then we have .ready, and that goes all the way to here. Notice how we have the opening parentheses and the closing parentheses. Inside of it we have function, open and close parentheses right beside each other, and curly brackets right here. Inside the curly brackets is where we can put our code. We close our script, we close our head, and if we demo the script, if we put the script into a web page and we actually loaded the web page, and what it would actually execute is this. It'll just load the page, and while it's loading, it will say loaded, or it will alert you with the word loaded. And that's exactly what we told it to do. Now that we have that tested, we need to make some sense out of what we saw above. So here we have the exact same code. First, we have our selector function. That's our $. And our $sign function is actually how we select things, and it looks just like this. Function, $, it takes one parameter, and that's the ID. And it just returns the document getElementById and the ID that you put into the function as the first parameter. And this is how we select things in jQuery. We just use the $. There's more to it, and we will touch on selectors soon enough, but for now, this is what you need to know. Next, we have the window. Window is the selected object. So the window part is just like writing document getElementById window. Then we have our ready method. So we have .ready, and it's a method because it's after the selected object. We have our opening parentheses right here. We have closing one on the other side here near the bottom. Then we have the function to run inside this ready method. We have the function here. We have the two parentheses side by side and then a curly bracket. After this curly bracket is where all of our code can go. We end our code with another curly bracket, just like a regular function. And then we have to close off the ready method. We use a closing parentheses like that. And with a lot of our JavaScript code, we always want to add a semicolon afterwards. So let's just go over this real quick once more. Window is the selected item, meaning jQuery is selecting the entire window. The ready method executes the specified code when the window is ready to start using jQuery. So the ready method basically says when jQuery is loaded through the window. Inside the ready method, we have the function. Notice there's no closing curly bracket here. And that allows us to put a large block of code inside the ready method. The alert loaded part is the code that we can put inside the ready method. We can put any code in there, but the alert method just tells us that our jQuery was installed properly. And the alert function here will run as soon as jQuery is done loading and it is ready to load our script. The curly bracket, parentheses, semicolon on the last line that you see up here is the closing curly bracket from our function. You notice how we didn't have a closing curly bracket here? Well, we now do. After that, we have the ready method, and that's the closing parentheses from the ready method, and we just end it with a semicolon like we do with a lot of things. If we break this down even farther and space out the above code, it would actually look something like this. We have our selector, window, ready, and this is our method, right? Then we have our function in here, regular function, curly bracket. We can put our code inside of the function. Curly bracket to close the function, that means this part is finished. And then we have a closing parentheses, and that means that everything inside of these parentheses is going to be part of the ready method. And then we just have a semicolon to say, hey, we're finished. This is very common syntax for jQuery. A selector using the $sign function, an event such as the ready method, our code inside of the function, and the closing syntax together, which is back to back, which looks like the curly bracket, the parentheses, and the semicolon. Even though this code right here looks like a lot right now, You will get to be very familiar with this and you will get to know exactly how this works very soon because we will use it quite a bit. So if you don't fully understand how it works now, that's all right because over the next few classes, you should be able to fully understand how it works.